a little bit about Enclave and how we feel they'll fare. Obviously, draft is started, but I just want to quickly ask you guys, you know, Enclave in that highlighted game kind of swept Diabolus aside, who were pronounced as potentially a top 4 team, right? Wind and Rain have proven themselves at this stage to be a top 4 team, or so far at least. How do we feel Enclave fare? Like, who's the favourites here? Is it still Wind and Rain as a favourite, or are Enclave going to be coming into it?
Definitely still a Wind and Rain favourite game, but Enclave have shown those signs of life that they can bring down teams like Diabolus. Now the question is, can they take it from arguably one of the top 4 teams to one of the top 2 teams and beat them?
All right, well, let's talk about these drafts, these bans coming in, because they're a little bit weird. Nunu Zillion going to be coming out as our first 2 bans.
Dan loves Nunu, right? So
yeah, basically in their first week, they won a game where they took winning lanes, and then he just went nuts in the enemy jungle on Nunu and stole everything. Every single red buff, I think, got taken away, and he had an absolute field day. Meanwhile, on the other side, the Vladimir, we saw it in the clip just a second ago, he destroyed Larson in the mid lane, so it's definitely target bans for the most
Paris,
part.
very good. And also Camille against so Kerberos, also Rifty, both of them really like Camille. Interesting that Kale
he loves Xin Zhao top lane. He's dreaming.
He hovers it all the time, though, dude.
But he's dreaming it. He's dreaming. He wants it. He's waiting for the day when the coach goes, you know what, Rifty, do it. Play Xin Zhao top lane and show us what you're all about. He'd love it.
We'll have to wait and see in 3 seconds. It's going to change.
He'll change. He's got to change. Oh, will it?
Tom Kench will be the first lock-in. Let's talk about this Sejuani pick, though, because it did get nerfed coming into today, but still the first pick of the draft.
With Zac banned, she's still top-tier jungler, right? I think, you know, it's a nerf to her Q. Like, you nerf a cooldown on her Q, it slightly impacts her clear speed, slightly impacts her mobility, but you need it up once in a gank to make a gank work in your favor. In the late game, it's very similar for what it can do. So, still a very good jungler, I think, for Munch Kids to get his hands on.
Yeah, Taliyah is going to be locked in here for Godbro, so this is something we've seen him playing so far this season. It's something that's just a very strong mid laner in the current meta with these control mages being so strong. It's going to be Braum to answer.
Yeah, I really like the Taliyah pick here because we've already spoken about the impact that this top lane is going to have. So what do? You take a roaming mid laner, someone like the Galio or the Taliyah, as you mentioned earlier on, and you make an impact in that top lane and let them start translating those victories to elsewhere on the map.
If you're Wind and Rain now, do you pick your AD carry knowing that you've got Tahm Kench? Yeah, I think you want to pick an AD carry that has high impact.
I'm not sold on the edge.
I would have gone for Varus personally, maybe, with the Tahm Kench in there. But the thing that Ezreal has got going for him, heavy mobility, good to dodge out, lots of things that are going to be thrown at him in the form of Sejuani, Braum ultimate. He can get out of the range of Cassiopeia and kite backwards very nicely against a very mobile mid laner. So it's a very safe AD carry that does scale up well into the late game.
But you've also got to consider that on Enclave's side, they've got the Sejuani and the Braum. We mentioned that team fight presence earlier on with the double stuns coming through from their passives, and you've also got the Cassiopeia who can prevent that Ezreal from getting away. They've got a lot of tools to lock down an ideal target in this fight and make sure they definitely go down. But I agree with you, the safety that comes from both Tahm Kench and the Ezreal should make that a little bit easier on them.
I like the Braum into Tahm Kench matchup as well. It's very good for Braum. If you can land your Q onto a Tahm Kench that's devoured his AD carry, it's going to be bad news for everybody involved in Tahm Kench's vicinity.
Braum just fills that fantasy of being the big protector standing in the front line ridiculously well at the minute. It doesn't matter who it is that he's protecting. Generally, against any kind of aggression, he is the man that you want in front of you.
Kind of interesting that we've got an AD carry locked in for Wind and Rain, and they're starting to ban out AD carries to deny Enclave, but kind of left Varus up, despite Varus being one of the top AD carries right now, allowing that to go through regardless.
It's because you have
Tristana, Xayah, Twitch, Varus. There's way too many options here.
Rek'Sai, against Dan.
Yeah, and I think against Dan specifically, I think with the AD carry point specifically there, Munch, is that maybe they're just banning out the ones that Ezreal particularly struggles with in lane, right? You're just banning out the Caitlyn, long range against AD carry Ezreal, and Kalista, who out-trades him very early on as well. Whoa.
Can we just stop for a second and appreciate that pick?
Ooh, all right. Dan going with the Kayn. He's like, you're going to ban me away. I'm going to pull out the pocket picks here. I mean, I was not expecting to see a Kayn today.
I think it's because of the Sejuani on the side. You know she's likely going to go for the Warmogs early on, which gives you a much larger heal when you use your ult, if, of course, you go into that Ras form. Very rare we see the Assassin form coming through, but if they go for a tanky comp, they can afford to take it.
The solo queue Duskblade.
You know.
I have been solo queue Duskblade quite a lot by Kayn. It hurts. You're right, though, Munch. There's just so many good AD carries left that this ban strategy seems a little bit odd for me. Like, maybe ban Caitlyn. Maybe, I mean, I can kind of see Kalista, but the Kalista Braum is obviously very powerful. But there's just so many good AD carries left for Enclave. It's an easy pickup, and Xayah is very strong right now.
Xayah will be locked in, and it looks like Warwick will be the final pickup here.
Kerberos.
Warwick going into the top. Like, Kerberos just hates the meta, man.
Is that GeoBear?
GeoBear reincarnate, absolutely.
GeoBear was known for his kind of like Warwick top stuff.
What's Rifty going to respond with, my big question? We know that he really likes his off-meta picks in the top lane in the form of Kerberos. What is Rifty's answer? He can go standard.
Have fun with this, Derry. Like, you're going to have fun.
You're never going to be able to predict what Rifty will take to respond here. In this case, looking like it's going to go for the Fiora. I'm not too...
Don't talk about the hovers.
No, don't talk about the hovers.
It was like 0 seconds.
That's the lock-in. That's the lock-in.
I have concerns about this.
I have concerns. Because Warwick could just go
Bramble
Vest and suddenly rip.
Yeah. And in fact, that works really well because Dan's going to be the same once he goes into the Rast form. Has a lot of lifesteal and, well, Spellvamp, I suppose you could say, on his kit. You take that on the Bramble Vest, he does nothing. This
is an incredibly squishy lineup from Wind and Rain. However, it's also an incredibly snowbally lineup. If they start to get ahead, it's going to be very difficult to come back as Enclave.
You've got great disengage and control from Wind and Rain. Look, when you pick a Fiora, this is the classic phrase that I always say, you only ever split push with Fiora. Fiora does not function teamfight-wise, especially against the amount of CC that Enclave have brought to the table. You can't riposte it all, right? So Fiora is a split push champion, through and through, only ever going to function like that. So you know that the rest of the Wind and Rain roster is going to have to survive 4 versus 5 in some scenarios. I think a Warwick-Sejuani combination is going to be very dangerous for Rifty in the laning phase, and this is a problem. If you put Fiora behind, you lose one of your major facets of a composition with a Fiora.
It's the catch potential they've got with the Cassiopeia and all that CC coming through from top lane, from jungle, from support. There's so many catch mechanics coming through for them, and Enclave have got a nice comp here. I like what they've drafted.
If you can snowball Fiora, though, it's okay for Wind and Rain.
Yeah, because then you have to commit 2 members to deal with her, and you never get a 5 versus 4 fight anywhere else, because otherwise she's going to destroy your top laner.
Yeah.
Simple as.
All right, so obviously we've been talking a little bit about the draft there. Do we feel like one of the 2 teams has won the draft per se?
Enclave for me personally.
On paper, yes, because the drafts from the other side looks very strange, but they're a smart bunch. I don't think they're going to pick this and just gone, well, we hard lost draft here, guys. They've been practicing this, and then no doubt they have a plan against this as well, and they know what Kerberos is capable of.
I think
the
difference is that Enclave has got a safer draft. Like, you know how Enclave wins the game, right? Whereas I think the way that Wind and Rain win is a little bit more in a seesaw. I think with the Fiora pick, I know where the jungle pressure is going to be, because you know where the jungle pressure from Enclave is going to be. That's going to be Dan and Rifty trying to go ham and get Rifty snowballing. If you can get Rifty snowballing, that is a massive win condition that you've just fulfilled for your team. And you know what Rifty's like in the 1v1. He will dominate if he gets ahead. This is going to be an exciting game. It really will. I mean, you have to watch this because it can go horribly wrong and will be over in 20 minutes, or we'll see a really exciting game.
Well, I definitely feel like this is going to be one of those games that potentially could end very quickly, but also with so many characters in this game wanting to get an early lead, wanting to snowball and try and build an advantage, we could have some serious early game aggression coming out from these 2 teams, especially from the jungles.
Especially at level 6 for me. Where Godbro goes once he hits level 6 is going to determine the flow of this game.
Yeah.
If he goes to top lane and starts making an impact and getting the Fiora head up there against the Warwick, Kerberos is going to be quiet, and we've all seen Kerberos when he gets quiet. He has literally 0 impact in the game.
My only worry for Wind and Rain is how much disengage do they really have against the hard engage from Enclave. You've got a really good, solid way to start a team fight, and a great follow-up from Cassiopeia as well. Sejuani ultimate to Cassiopeia ultimate into all the control that Miasma provides you as well. How much disengage have you actually got? You've got Ezreal with Iceborne Gauntlet, and you've got Talia, really.
You've got Tarm to save someone, and you've arguably got Rast knock.
But then Tarm becomes an easy target for the rest of the Enclave composition.
You can focus and burst him out very easily.
It's such a top lane set. We talked about it. It's such a top lane pivotal matchup, I think, this game right now.
So we could well be seeing a 2v2 top lane, to be quite honest, with the junglers trying to make that go in their favor. We are going to be heading on into this one. Thank you very much for your analysis, Ex-Scoundrel. It's going to be myself and Desert Jew heading on into the map for this game here between Enclave and Wind and Rain. Warwick in the top lane. It's going to be starting with a Doran's Blade as well, so aggressive start coming out here from Kerberos.
The best thing with Kerberos, and I think a thing a lot of people admire him for, is it doesn't matter what champion he's playing, he is more than willing to build Trinity Force on it, and that is most likely what you're going to see here in this lane. Quite surprised he's gone for the Doran's Blade, because we've seen him in the past go for the Doran's Ring. Helps you get more of those Qs down, and the lifesteal that you get when you max that first in lane is insane. So both top laners have got some good endurance in this lane in terms of lifesteal they've got. Again, Bramble Vest Rush is what I'm expecting to see from Kerberos, and on the other side for Rifty, he's got the Kleptomancy, he's got the Relic Shield, he's going for that scaling.
Absolutely, and we'll see if he can scale up, and also if the game is going to last long enough to scale up. We already mentioned this could be a bloodbath. This could be over in a few minutes' time. Could be a very short one, but at the same time, we could have a repeat of what we saw earlier on today, when we have a full 50-minute slugfest. You know, these two teams both decent towards the later stages of the game. You've got things like the Cassiopeia, things like the Ezreal, that once you get to those 6 items can be terrifying. So if someone falls behind, they'll certainly be looking to just stall for those kind of situations. But let's talk a little bit about this Kayn here for Dan, because it's not very often that we see Kayn in competitive play.
It's definitely not. It's been a long time since we've seen him getting picked up, but Dan, with his new main, you kind of expect him to be able to pick up some other things that maybe aren't too conventional, that we don't see from most teams. In his case, Kayn is that go-to pick. What I'm very interested to see is what he goes for in terms of his gank paths. Of course, one of the key strengths about Kayn is the ability to go through these walls and land those ganks from behind. Early on, not super impactful because you don't have the CC of the upgraded Ras form, but he's going to be looking to duel nice and early on so he can get himself into that Ras form, bring the CC, bring the lifesteal and spell vamp, and turn himself into a bit of a huge tank for his team alongside the Tahm Kench.
This top lane already going a little bit scary for Rifty. He's being forced incredibly low. Actually, first Drake of the game, look at that, it's going to be infernal. If there wasn't already enough onus on this early game, an incredible neutral objective to fight over added to the situation, this is a melting pot for action to start things off here.
I really like with the Warwick pick as well for Kerberos, because he tweeted the other day, I think it was like a screen cap of one of his scrims, and he was like, oh, scrims as always, and the first 3 bans you see are the Camille, I think it was the Fiora, no, the Camille, the Kayle, and the Warwick. No one wants to play against it because they just have no idea how to do so. And speaking to Ferndog from ESL, he was saying against most teams, you don't ban away their strongest picks, you learn how to play against them. That is the whole point of scrims. But for Kerberos, teams just know there is nothing to practice when you're getting absolutely shafted by a Warwick. So just letting it go through here, well, it might come back to bite them, but like we said earlier on, Rifty has got a plan. They've thought this through. They know what he likes to play, and they've correctly guessed one of his priority picks, and the Camille isn't available.
Or at least we hope that they have a plan. Fingers crossed they have a plan. But if not, it could just be solo queue picks, because the Kayn coming through, definitely very solo queue heavy hero. Definitely something that can run away with the game, though. If he can get a couple of early kills, we know that Dan is a player that is more than able to run away with the game.
It's all about getting that early Ras form, though. We mentioned it earlier on. Look at Paris having such a rough time in this lane already, down to 150-odd HP. Godbro, we've seen what he can do on things like Echo, and Paris had a great week last week. Let's not forget his Vladimir was amazing against Larson, but he's really struggling in this matchup against the Godbro's Talia.
Yeah, I mean, we already talked about Godbro earlier on today. This guy has been at the top of Challenger for a very long time. He's been almost the gatekeeper for LCS. He's been in so many promotion tournaments. He's not really had very much time in the LCS. I believe he was on a team or two for a little while, but he's been around that scene for a very, very long time. And you know, you can't be a bad player after that much experience on a stage and that much experience in play. Godbro going to flash away from that gank as Munchkiz comes on in. It's just going to be Summoner for nothing there. Munchkiz with a nice gank.
Yeah, realistically for Paris there, if he got involved in that fight, it would have taken a flash forward from Godbro. He's got the cleanse on side as well if he were to be CC'd up by the Sejuani, so it was no question there. Flash away, keep yourself safe. You've already got this lane pressure. Keep yourself alive and keep on exerting that pressure to make sure that Paris stays quiet.
Kerberos has been taken fairly low in this matchup here, but he's Warwick, so he will have a lot of lifesteal to work with. But Rifty trying to make sure that he's using and abusing these vitals to win out these trades. And with the minions there on top of everything else, Kerberos actually struggling a bit.
Yeah, he'll be fine though, because the amount of regen that comes through from Warwick, both on his passive, on his Q, he's got the Doran's Blade as well, and he's still got the pot sat in his inventory. He's going to have a fine time up there. Rifty's already burnt through all 3 of the health potions that he took into this lane. He's going to go back now, though, got himself the Tiamat, so this is where things start getting pretty explosive up there. I imagine you'll see the same kind of thing come through from Kerberos, or we go for that Bramble Vest, like we mentioned earlier on, to help shut down both the Kayn and the Fiora.
Certainly will be interesting. He's going to go with the Tiamat.
Why not?
So,
aggression.
Yeah, well, let's have some wave clear on both sides of this top lane. Let's see how this one's going to go out. They want to go all... I mean, we've been talking about this matchup, right? Both aggressive players, both playmakers. And that's exactly how you're going to make things happen, right? Building aggressive items and being able to find yourself in that 1v1 situation.
Yeah, Frappy needs to be pretty careful. He's gone for the call just to try and admit, well, you know what, we're not going to be able to probably beat out the Ezreal here. It's just far too safe. And we're in arguably one of the strongest bot lanes in the Prem. Matty, one of the stronger AD carries in the UK, no doubt. Ooh. But here comes Godbro. We spoke about this level 6, and here he comes for a gank.
He is level 6 already. Might not even have to use his ultimate, though. There's first blood going down. Matty takes another turret shot. It's 2 kills going the way of Shogun. That is disastrous. Godbro now tanking. Oh my goodness, this is dangerous. Shogun is still alive right now. He still has flash as well. Will flash away. Godbro is tanking.
What are you doing?
Oh my goodness. It's an execute though. Shogun didn't get a kill. It was almost a triple. Shogun, the Braum god.
What on earth were Wind and Rain doing there? Honestly, that dive was so messy. All the summoners they burnt to try and make it happen as well. Beyond me. This is basically a free Infernal Drake now on the side for Enclave as well. They lost 3 members going for that.
So ridiculous. I can't believe what just happened.
There's not even an exhaust on the side of Enclave. That was just flat out a massive misplay by Wind and Rain.
Here we go. The Drake will be taking him. Look at the HP right now on Shogun. This is going to be kill onto Paris.
Yeah.
I think everyone else gets away with the recalls, but Frappy's been found by Rifty, who has teleported down there, gets the heal for himself. Frappy still very low, flashing for this one. Can't quite get the Vital. 1 or 2 more hits will get it. Vital's up top, but he's not finding it. Munchkin's so low as well. Rifty. Oh, Rifty's ruined. There's an hourglass. This is such a messy game. Rifty is going to go down. Oh my god. We said that this was going to be messy. We said there was going to be kills. Oh, Godbro's here as well. He wants a 1v3. I'm not sure that's all too wise. We'll back away. They get a red buff.
Wind and Rain are forcing plays far too hard now. You've given a huge advantage over to Kerberos in the top lane. There's no teleport on Rifty. He used to get down to bot lane. That's going to give over a 20 CS advantage to the top side, although they do get the first tower as a reward for their, should we say, aggression is probably one way to put it. Miscalculated aggression, but aggression nonetheless.
I mean, yeah, definitely aggression. Aggression is 100% the word for both of these teams right now. Wind and Rain really trying to force the issue, but actually, despite the fact that they are down on kills, they're 2,000 gold ahead right now. They are managing to build themselves a lead, so it is working out.
You look at where that comes from, though. It's all about the CS lead in the mid and the bottom lane. Godbro, we've already seen what pressure he had, and for Matty and Lavrov, they are piling the pressure onto Frappy and Shogun. That's exactly why Frappy has gone for the Ninja Tabi first. It's exactly why he got the cult early on, because he knows this is a lane that they won't win. The range coming through from Matty is just far too much, and the safety that Lavrov provides, we spoke about Tarnkench earlier, it's far too much to enable them to do pretty much anything. And Shogun, though, does have 2 kills to his name thanks to that crazy tower dive.
Yeah, he is loving that. Like, do you know, when you're playing support, it's not often that you get early kills, but when you do, just grabbing one of those items a little bit earlier, always an incredibly nice little benefit to get hold of for yourself. But now we see Dan starting to head up towards this top side of the map as well. Munchkiz is going to be there, though. Spots him out immediately. But that ward in the river brush, or that pink ward in the river brush, definitely a convenient little placement coming out for Wind and Rain. It means that they'll not only know what's going on there, but they can deny vision there as well.
Now with the Warwick in the bot lane as well. Look, it's CS 85, 10 ahead of Godbro in the mid lane. Admittedly, because there's been a lot of roaming going on with Godbro going down to bot lane twice, of course the second ult not being the most impactful. But all it's going to take for here is to get the Trinity Force, and he can run away with this.
Munchkiz slowed down slightly. Dan wants this one, though. Reaping Scythe going on in, and he's jumping straight on with the Umbral Trespass. This surely is going to be a kill. Munchkiz going to be falling on down. And now up towards the top lane. This could easily be a tower.
Good fight from Dan as well. More stacks towards that passive. The sooner he gets Rast, the better, because they can force more and more of these plays. Rift Herald coming up in just a few seconds, though. I thought he was going to start it, but no, just choose to hop over the wall and head towards those crooks.
We've been talking about this top lane matchup, basically for the whole of the draft, right?
40 CS ahead.
Yeah, I mean, he has a CS lead, but here's the thing. There is no top lane matchup because Rifty's just roaming. Wherever Kerberos is, Rifty is not. He's just been all over the shop, elsewhere, making plays happen, which is not typically what you see on Fiora. Oh, Godbro taking a good amount of damage, but Dan is here. Paris is in trouble. Stun does not land. Nice little turnaround from Godbro. And now Dan, nice. He doesn't even have to finish this one off because Godbro flashes for a kill.
Well, they weren't willing to let that one go. After Rifty's failed tower dive early on, they wanted to see more kills going their way. And admittedly, War, they're starting to show the aggression that they're famed for here. 2K in the lead. a question mark again around the actual level of aggression they were showing and just how far they were willing to push it to get themselves some kills, but they are firmly in the lead and it's looking good for them. Look at the gold difference already being opened up in the mid lane. Almost 800 gold going on to one side there, and in the bot lane it's even worse, 1100 gold difference.
Now, I want to finish a point I was making a minute ago, right, about Rifty versus Kerberos. The top lane matchup hasn't really existed that much so far this game because Rifty's been roaming. However, there is a big caveat, because that sounds like I'm complimenting Rifty. He's not only 30 CS behind, but he doesn't have any kills or assists. In none of the plays was he able to have a significant impact. He just died to the tower. So actually, the fact that he's been roaming has been a heavy negative for him.
I guess the main thing for his team, though, is that the rest of them are ahead of their counterparts for the most part. The aggression coming from Dan, Godbro in the mid lane, Matty and Labrov having a great time as well in their matchup. Everything's going his way, so it's more of kind of a pride thing here for Rifty. Swallow the pride and accept that in this case, you aren't going to be the big carry for your team like you were last week, for example. Just let your team do the work here. You can always be relevant later on. You're Fiora. You get 3 or 4 items. You can be 0-10. You will still be absolutely huge in that split push role.
Good bit of trading going on, or more just clearing out these minions. There's both supports positioning fairly aggressively in this lane, but not actually going to turn it into anything down, making sure that they've got control of the river there. Godbro just continuously clearing out these minion waves, and that's one of the things that can be quite difficult to deal with as a Cassiopeia. It's going against one of these mid laners that can just push you in on the tower.
Natalia, of course, exceptional at doing that in the early game compared to Paris, who doesn't really have the greatest wave clear early on, but here comes the hard force into Kerberos.
It's already going to be ulted here coming through from Rifty. Dan jumping on forward as well. Godbro's here, but Kerberos so far dodging everything. Manages to dodge the knockup. That is going to be the Umbral Trespass to finish a kill, though. A 3-man gank coming on in. It is going to be a kill. Can this be punished, though? If not, it's fantastic for Wind and Rain. They're going to walk away with this one. Actually, Tom Kent arriving as well. All 5 down bot right now. Dragon is about to spawn, so maybe that's the reason they're committing so much.
It was a good time to do it, but really that play there summarised what we're going to see for the rest of the game. Kerberos, 1 versus 3. His team unable to respond, and the members of War more than willing to get themselves involved. All 5 members joining in around for this now, completely abandoning top lane despite the tower going down. Now they're in a good spot to push and take this dragon.
Here we go. Very stealable right here, but it is going to be taken by Dan before Munchkins can arrive. Shogun taking a lot of damage, but that Unbreakable will keep him alive. It's an Infernal Drake apiece now, which is... Of course, this game, this of all games, had to be the one where we have 2 Infernal Drakes to start things off. So much aggression, so much damage. Health bars are going to be vanishing across this one.
Still waiting for that first item spike coming through from Enclave so they can start forcing these spikes. Look on the other side, you've got the Iceborne Gauntlet and the Mana Moon stacking up for the Ezreal. You've got the Hydra in the top lane, you've got first jungle items being finished off on both sides. But really for Enclave mid lane, still nowhere near that Rod of Ages, still waiting to get the blasting one before you can finish off that item. In the bot lane, waiting for the Essence Reaver. Still some more work to do, and especially you're looking towards that Trinity Force in the top lane for Kerberos. Once they have those, I would like to see them try and force some more plays, because as it stands so far, War are just completely having their way with this game, and the aggressive Enclave that we saw beat Diabolus earlier in the week, they've disappeared.
Yeah, and also, I mean, you mentioned about these item spikes that the side of Enclave are waiting for. Matty already has 2 items on this Ezreal, and that is a scary spike in of itself, just being able to use that Frozen Gauntlet to not only do that poke damage, but also survive longer in those fights. And now, getting some good damage down onto this turret, this is going to be an easy take for War.
Yeah, smart play by Curb there to, again, swallow his own pride and back off from tower and just let it go down. The one thing with Curb is that as aggressive as he can be in lane, and as much as he loves really schooling his lane opponent, he can play safe and knows when to back off. Evidently not the case a couple of minutes ago when he got dropped in bot side, but overall you won't see him getting caught out too many times in this match.
Definitely feels like the guys over on the red side have been reading Sun Tzu, because they've turned this war into art right now. That was a terrible execution on that joke, but, you know, I wanted to make it anyway. Dan going to be heading on back over towards his red buff as they grab themselves a Herald. We'll see where they're going to push with that one. Wouldn't be surprised to see that just go towards the mid lane, though.
I think he's going towards Dustblade here as well. Got himself the Warrior Enchant, got the Mert Treads, and now it's about more and more damage. Just keep on stacking it up. So although he's a tank here, he's not relying... It's kind of like Vladimir, right? He can be very, very tanky when he's got the Spirit Visage, when he's got the Zhonyas, and all the health that he gains from his passive. It's the same kind of thing with Kayn. You just rely on absorbing more HP than you lose to keep yourself in the fight. And if things do go south, use your ult, get all your health back off one of their tanks, and suddenly it's like the fight has just began all over again.
Certainly good to have those resets available to be able to just deny the situation. Paris just trying to shove under tower right now, but Matty has head towards this mid lane, so he's going to be able to clear away these minion waves pretty comfortably on that Ezreal. He's also got his cooldown boots finished off now, so he's going to be able to just mash out those spells like no tomorrow. And actually, everything's slowed down very significantly here. Like, we got, what, maybe 12 minutes into the game, and just like that, everything stopped. Neither team wants to overstep too much.
I mean, the goal difference has shrunk from, it was what, 2k at about 8 minutes? Now it's to 1.5k. So although Enclave look behind somewhat, like you say, it's got a lot slower, they've kept that goal difference the same throughout, which is when you get the opportunity as a team to take a fight a bit later on and go for the big play. They're still waiting for those first item spikes. Rod of Ages finishing on the Cassiopeia, going towards the Trinity Force in the top lane. That's when they can start looking for fights. But I'm very curious to see if Kerberos gets involved in those fights or just sticks to the split push, because like you said, there's nothing from the Fiora, just trying to stay as far away from Kerberos on this Warwick as possible.
Certainly does love a cheeky little split push. But actually, to be fair, so far in that matchup, Rifty hasn't been avoiding Kerberos that much in the grand scheme of things. Like, we've seen him going for 1v1s, we've seen him using that ultimate and being as aggressive as he can just to make sure that he doesn't fall behind, that Kerberos doesn't feel so confident that he can just push that issue necessarily. But I want to talk a little bit more about Dan as well, because right at the very start we were talking about this Kayn pick. It's not something we see often in competitive. So far though, 15 CS lead and a 2-0-2 scoreline. Dan is making it work.
I think on 8.3 it's when you still have the extra damage from Dustblade. 8.4 I think it's getting nerfed ever so slightly in terms of damage, so I expect him to go towards that rather than the Ghostblade. But like you say, his impact again has been huge, and I don't like to keep on harking back to it, but vision score again, 46 to 35. Not huge between the two, but Dan has been everywhere, inside the enemy jungle pretty much all game, looking for those fights. And Monkeys, who had a great game on Zac on Tuesday, he's done very little so far.
Matty going to be pushing forwards alongside Rifty and Labrov here. They might just be able to take a turret. And Shogun going to be blocking a lot of that damage with the Unbreakable. This is one of the strengths of Braum in those siege situations. That Unbreakable becomes so valuable. Oh, the protection. Dan actually going to get stunned up here, but flashes away from this one. Godbro is on the situation as well. Nice knock up from Dan. And will be able to scythe himself to safety. Flash comes on through as well, but Lavrov has now been caught suppressed as well. That's going to be a kill going the way of Enclave. And now they head towards mid lane. What
I've been saying for 5 minutes is once they got those first items, would they try and force a fight? The answer is yes. Not quite their ideal target, but with Dan and Godbro both off to the side, it was a good opportunity for Enclave to push in. They had a very squishy set of members. You had Rifty with that one item, then you had the Ezreal, who, yeah, looking pretty strong in terms of items and is quite safe. But Labrov then, your most ideal target in the world. Maybe a tanky Braum, but still, a Tahm Kench, but may go down very quickly.
Yeah, we'll get finished off there. Nice capitalization from Enclave. And it's always frustrating when you're the team starting these fights. Like, Wind and Rain actually started that play, but in the end... Oh, wait, no, they didn't. Sorry, it was Munchkins that managed to find Dan with the ultimate to start things off. But interestingly, where the fight started didn't actually impact who got killed in the end. Frappy
got his ult still.
Yeah. Ooh, almost getting knocked up, but nice ultimate.
Yeah, again, that's just Dan coming over the river wall, over red wall to get some vision down there as well. Everything he's doing is just giving his team more and more intel. Again, trying to keep tabs on where Monkeys is. He's been kept very quiet so far. If they know where he is, they can respond and react accordingly. They can make plays where he isn't. The last thing you want is to get caught out. Oh, being caught out. Kerberos in trouble.
Here we go. Kerberos taking a lot of damage here, but he's still surviving only just. And in comes the rest of his team.
He's dead.
But here comes the rest of Wind and Rain as well. Shogun, he's used his Unbreakable.
They won't
be able to survive here, though, because the rest of his team is coming. Munchkins has arrived on the scene, has his ultimate available. Dan getting a 3-man knock-up, though, and Labrov saves his jungler's life.
Oh, Paris.
Nice wall from Godbro. Paris is in trouble. There's a knockback. He's going to... Oh, actually flashes to safety. I'm surprised he got away with that one. True Shot Barrage is not enough damage.
I was concerned at the start of that engage because Godbro was still sat around his mid tower while the Cassio had roamed down, but... You know what that ult's like, it can make an impact from pretty much anywhere on the map. And Ocean Drake is going to get taken away by Wind and Rain. Next one's an Infernal. That'll be a big one for Enclave to fight over.
It certainly will. Honestly, if Wind and Rain can get the next Drake as well, if they can get 2 Infernals and an Ocean, they'll start to really build an advantage off the back of that one. 2,000 gold ahead. And now Baron is on the map, so it starts to get dangerous now. If you get caught out, even just 1 or 2 players, that can open up Baron for your opponent, and especially when we've got split pushing from Kerberos all game so far, that Baron will be massive.
It's one of the weaknesses, I think, that we've seen from Enclave this season so far, is that Kerberos is a split pusher through and through. He doesn't really like getting involved in team fights too much. It's not that he won't. He just prefers being in the side lane and going for these towers, and we've seen it time and time again. In fact, we saw it earlier on in one of the highlighted games again, the 4 versus 5 that Enclave took and won. He wasn't even involved. He was just busy off split pushing and doing his thing with Kale.
Play being forced up top. That's going to be the ult from Labrov. This is the strength of Tahm Kench coming on through, and Paris is going to go down. He thought he had a 1v1 against Godbro, but you never have a 1v1 with Tahm Kench in the game.
This is what I like, because last week they made this mistake with, okay, maybe they backed off, but they were going to, the intent was there to go for the play. Previously, if Kerberos got caught out on Kale, oddly enough, they wouldn't try and go and force something else on the map. They'd try and support Kerberos. In this case, it was like, right, they're all top lane, let's go and force mid. They were just a bit scared of the rotation coming through.
Yeah, definitely. It would have been dicey to continue to commit to that mid lane turret. Obviously, everyone was starting to rotate down, so it was like, if we stay and fight for this turret, maybe we'll get the turret, but we definitely have to team fight. And they'd already lost Paris, so it would have been a dicey situation. But now the siege begins from the side of Wind and Rain here in the mid lane. And actually good damage down onto Frappy Matty, really starting to chunk that health bar.
And this is what a Tahm Kench affords an AD carry like Ezreal, is that you can afford to go for the arcane shift forward and play aggressively, because you know that, for example, if Monkeys had sprung over the wall there with the ult to lock you up, your Tahm Kench is right there. He's going to swallow you, walk away quite merrily, even flash if he has to, and you're safe without having to do anything. That's why Tahm Kench is so impactful and why we're seeing him pick and banned in every single game of the Prem.
You said...
almost every single game.
You said Munchkiz there, but you missed off the CH, and it sounded like you were just being really northern and said, if Monkeys jumped over the wall...
Well, there's no H, mate. It's Monkeys. What? Monkeys. No H.
Oh, there's no H?
Yes, mate.
I thought it was
great
Munchkiz.
Revelation there.
I thought it was Munchkiz.
Nah, Monkeys.
It sounds proper northern. It sounds like
monkeys.
Monkeys.
Yeah, monkeys.
What if Monkeys jumped over the wall? Oh, there you go. I've been misreading that this entire time.
Sorry, man. Got you back, don't worry.
I just wanted to relate to someone, you know. I wanted there to be more munches in the Premiership. Here we go. Matty's been caught out here. Weaver's Wall will come on through from Godbro, and the rest of the team has now arrived. Shogun jumping away, just about getting away, but will fall down in the end. Labrov flashing away with his jungler. Dan surviving from this one as Monkeys gets knocked up once again.
Oh, that's a question.
Oh, look at that jump forward from Matty, sniping at the enemy jungler. And another beautiful fight coming out for Wind and Rain, 2 for 0.
Well fought, and again, this is what I mean about the Tahm Kench. In that case, Dan played extremely aggressive under tower, got ulted by Monkeys. Tahm Kench had to walk forward, devoured him, flashed away. Your jungler is 100% safe. Bot lane though.
Here we go, the 1v1 we've been talking about so much. Kerberos super low, and he will go down. Rifty finding the 1v1. Beautiful stuff coming out. And that's the top laner we know and love.
What's really surprising is that Kerberos has got both the Bramble Vest and the Tabby, and generally that is the #1 way to shut down a Fiora. In this case, didn't really need it, because he was more than happy to go for the fight in with the Hydra, even half the Trinity Force. In fact, now the full Trinity Force, he finishes it off. He is going to be a monster, and I think at this point, Kerberos is really going to struggle to slow him down.
He certainly will. Here we go. That's going to be the Tahm Kench ultimate. True Shot already went on through, and Frappy, just survives. Nice little body block there from Monkeys on the on that Sejuani. Baron's still on the map right now, but Dragon going to be spawning in 2 minutes. And let's remember, that's another Inferno trade. So that will be a huge objective if we see a trade, or if we see either of them taking any neutral objectives at this point. We're going to start to see a heavy snowball off of that.
Absolutely, and it feels for Enclave, they've got really one big chance to try and turn this game around with that next fight over the neutral objective like you mentioned. Maybe bait War into going something, but Godbro forced the flash. Nice
flash away there. Will get a knock-up as well. I think that's just about saved his own skin right now. And that was Monkeys' flash as well. Labrov going to be able to just devour Matty away. Oh, that's so unfortunate for Monkeys. Frappy trying to get the root, but doesn't quite find anyone. Labrov actually gets slowed down there. Kerberos on the front line. Nice unbreakable from Shogun, but actually he's not long for this world. Will go down in the end, and now Dan wants some more. There's a knock-up and a kill onto Paris with his Umbral Trespass. And it is going to be in the meantime. This is a 4v5. Rifty is just split pushing in the bottom lane, and this is going to open up Baron.
Exactly what I was about to say. That was a 4 versus 5, and Godbro was even eliminated from that fight early on. But Monkeys are making the same mistake as he's made all game. He's engaging onto enemies whilst the Tahm Kench is nearby. He completely negates your engage, and it's the second or third time we've seen that happen now. Monkeys' impact has been 0. Paris has had 0 impact. Just generally great play by Wind and Rain to make sure the members of Enclave have no impact in this game.
Here we go, 4,000 health on the Baron right now. Monkeys is on the other side of the wall. I feel like I'm casting a PG Tips advert every time I say his name. Where's Johnny Vegas when you need him? It is going to be going down though. Nice. Can they finish this one? Dan managing to get the smite in the end. Monkey's just going to walk away.
Godbro with a very, very good denial there with the knockaway onto the Sejuani. The charge was blocked by Shogun. Or by Labrov, sorry. Everything just went the way for them there. It's the big worry for me, is that was their big fight to try and get back into this one, Enclave. We said earlier on, they got those item spikes, now's the time to try and force a fight, but Wind and Rain are just completely denying them any opportunity to get them back into this game. I say that and they get themselves a break.
Yeah, we said that there may well be a trade for those objectives, and it has come on through. Frappy has been found by Rifty though.
Damage.
And look at that ultimate, just absolutely melting through Frappy's health bar. Actually, it's been found on his own. Monkeys gonna be the sacrifice that is made here though. Rifty's still surviving so far, actually gets to the other side of the team. Nicely played from him. Paris now in a little bit of trouble. His team's nowhere near, and Godbro is fighting the rest of the squad on his own. There's a kill for Rifty. This is a ridiculous snowball. Over the last 5 minutes, we've seen a very even game become very, very one-sided. This is going to be a bottom lane inhibitor, and Dan is starting to prep the mid lane as well.
Everything going. There's only so many times you can say it, but literally Wind and Rain are in full control of this game, and coming into today, I thought it'd be a bit closer. Curve now the one in trouble.
Certainly is. I don't think he's going to be able to do much here. That's another kill going their way. They're actually trying to push onto these Nexus turrets. I don't think they're going to be able to end the game here. They will have to back away. But like I said before, Dan was already pushing mid. He was already getting this one ready to go. Now there's a minion wave here. They're going to take another inhibitor tower off the back of this one.
The hardest thing,
objective after objective.
The hardest thing for Enclave is who do you engage onto? Like, there's no need to devour Dan anymore. He's got for the Guardian Angel as his second item to make sure he is safe. You go on to Matty. He's going to be able to blink away, he's got the flash, he's got the support from the Tarnkench nearby. And Godbro has just shown time and time again how brilliant he is at making these escapes or the denials. Even when 3 members are chasing him down, he still makes a clean escape. It's insane. Really, really well played by Wind and Rain. And to be fair, Enclave, we said earlier in the week against Abelis they look great, and that we expected them to maybe try and step it up another tier to be able to bring down one of the two giants in the Prem in the form of Wind and Rain and Misfits. But Wind and Rain just giving us a very cruel, or giving them a very cruel reminder that there is a reason why those two teams are coined to be at the top.
I mean, Godbro's score is just disgusting right now. I feel like he's not really been the one we've been talking about most of this game. He's not been necessarily the one starting the plays, but he's always been there for just about every single kill. He's been around this situation. 11 kills and assists total to his name. He's been just dishing out so much damage and just offering so much for his team. The
scoreboard looks very impressive, but the most impressive thing about his play is that he has disabled Paris from doing anything. Paris has had 0 impact. He's 1 of 5.
I did not know you could block Weaver's Wall with your Unbreakable there. That's cool. That's an interesting mechanic.
Fun things.
I never really considered it a projectile because it's like the floor.
Learnings with lunch. There you go.
There you go. Fun fact of the day, I guess.
Yeah. But like I was saying, Paris has done nothing this game realistically. He's got 1 kill to his name, and it was a bit of a scrappy one in the first place. He's still sat at 2 items at nearly 30 minutes into the game. It's been incredibly slow for him, incredibly difficult. And I don't really see a way how Enclave fight their way back into this one. They are so far behind, but they're going to try. There's
always a way to throw, Derry. That is a fact of life. Kerberos is very low, though, but he will get his ultimate onto Rifty. In the meantime, Dan jumping on in. He's going to have to pop his GA, though, but in the meantime, the players are falling. The turrets are no more. This is going to be game going the way of Wind and Rain. I thought maybe there was a last chance hope of a team fight there, but it just was not meant to be. Enclave are going to go down, and Wind and Rain take another convincing victory here in the Premiership.
The biggest thing to look at there on that scoreboard, across top, jungle and mid,